Behind the camera, at the news desk, on the sideline, coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Off the Field with 1011 sports reporter Kendall Lanier on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to Off the Field. I'm Kendall Lanier. To put a face to the voice, you can watch on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Owl Cable Channel 961. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, I'm joined by Mya Felder. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So you were a former Nebraska softball player, and now you're coordinator for strategic initiatives at Nebraska. What has that role been like for you?
This role has been very rewarding for me. I enjoy, now, when I first started last year as an intern, I was a McClendon Fellow. I was upstairs kind of on the third floor on the administrative floor, and this year I'm downstairs with student athletes. So It's been super rewarding this year just being able to interact with student athletes and get a feel for exactly what their needs are. And I've just had so much fun this year so far.
Yeah, and so you kind of shifted responsibilities, like you're more in a leadership position, would you say, this year, or supervisors?
Yes, I definitely have more responsibility this year, and I also have Courtney Wallace who works under me, and so we do a lot of stuff together, so I guess a little bit of a supervisor.
Yeah. And I just found out you're a Scorpio. Your birthday's 2 days after mine, so knew I liked you for a reason. But so transitioning from softball to working in sports, what type of skills and tools that you learned from softball has helped you in your role now?
Definitely relationship building and adaptability. I think through sport, I've been to a few different schools, and then just even when you're on a team, you need to learn how to adapt. And athletics, as we know it, it's just so ever-changing that I think that adaptability is one of the skills that I have definitely taken from sport, and it is a necessity for working in college athletics.
Yeah, definitely. And so strategic initiatives, what type of things do you get to work on with that?
Yeah, so I do all of our inclusive excellence initiatives for both staff and student athletes. And this year I also work in life skills. So I work on different initiatives for life skills. So we do career building, professional development, and that's just stuff that I didn't do last year that I have to do this year. And then strategic initiatives in itself is just also professional development, especially for staff. And we also do a seminar once a year for both staff and student athletes. And so that it's called an Inclusive Excellence and Leadership Seminar. So professional development, leadership development, and inclusive excellence practicing.
Yeah, cool. So did you always know that you wanted to work in sports after graduating?
I had a lot of different career options, I'd say, especially when I started college. I think that I changed my major probably maybe 5 times, officially 4 times though, since I started college. And so I knew that I wanted to work in college sports after my 3rd year in college.
Okay, cool. So do you think you want to stay in this line of like career, this strategic initiatives area, or do you want to kind of move around in sports?
I love what I'm doing. I am definitely open to different avenues of a career in sport because I honestly don't know how long my position is going to stay around in college athletics since there's so much development happening right now. But one of my goals was definitely to move up in administration, and so maybe like an SWA type role would definitely be something that I'm interested in.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. So you transferred 2 times before getting to Nebraska, Oregon, and then New Mexico State.
I went to New Mexico State first, and then Oregon.
Yes. So what went into transferring, and kind of what was that process like for you?
So I valued both of my experiences at each school because I learned so much. I think that my freshman year was definitely an opportunity for me to develop and just kind of find my own way, especially being away from home. And so after that first year, I had a successful year at New Mexico State, and then I just kind of wanted a bigger opportunity. And so I went to Oregon and learned a lot. And then after the decision to transfer to Nebraska was just, I had graduated in 3 years. So to start that next year and then to be kind of in the middle of a master's degree after my 4th year, it's hard to transfer those credits. So I wanted to go somewhere where I'd have for sure 2 years, be able to finish that degree.
Yeah. Wow. So what did you end up getting your master's in?
Educational administration.
Okay. And then you got your PhD.
I'm working on it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
wow.
So I started it. And
Yeah.
Still in the midst of it.
Yeah. So why did you want to get that degree?
It was more of a personal goal, and I just to get an extra level of education, higher education, like a master's degree is great. And I've just always, my parents instilled in me just hard work, and I was able to graduate with no debt. That's not regular to have 2 degrees, no debt, and that was all because of sport. And then to start my PhD and even get part of that paid for, we give so much to athletics, and I think that that's what it gave me is one, once in a lifetime experiences, but on top of that, education. And so now I just think that, especially being a Black female and wanting to work up into higher roles, I think that just gives me an extra layer, something else to put on my resume that could set me apart from anybody else.
Yeah, that's so cool. And I'm sure it's weird seeing Oregon in the Big Ten now. Just that's definitely a transition. But yeah, so once you got to Nebraska, how did you immediately get connected with the team, and how did it become a home for you?
When I came to Nebraska, so in the summer when I was being recruited, they talked a lot about culture, and so I don't think it was hard to kind of get involved, and they spent so much time working on their culture even before I got here. So it wasn't hard to connect with the girls, making me feel welcome. From the moment I landed and I met them on my first meal of my visit, they were just so welcoming, and so nothing changed when I got here.
Yeah. Wow. And so you guys won a Big Ten championship while you were here. And I mean, besides that, what went into making your experience here so great?
All of the resources. So one of the reasons I picked Nebraska was just the amount of resources beyond the field that they had for student athletes. And it's second to none in the country. I think that the amount of time and effort and dedication that comes from each person, whether it's life skills or academics, it's all for the student athlete. And the things that were shared with me on my visit never changed when I got here. And so I think the loyalty piece in that, but then I'm from the West Coast, and so everyone that I know who has come here from a different place has said the people here just make Nebraska, and I think that's so true because nothing changed from when I was being recruited to when I got here.
Yeah, wow, yeah. I had Kylie McGee on the show earlier in the season, and so she's a transfer, and so it seems like transfers have really good experiences coming in to Nebraska, and Coach Ravel seems amazing to play for. How do you think you kind of grew as a person playing under her and just being with the whole team?
Yeah, Coach Ravel has definitely made my experience in Nebraska. I mean, I'm still here, and I don't have any family here, and so they are my family. Everyone I met through softball, the coaches, they're my family, and so I think that she definitely made my experience so much better. She supports me even in what I'm doing now. Every time I see her, it's a hug. And so I just have had the best experience at Nebraska, and that started with the softball family.
Yeah, wow. And you were also captain. How do you think that helps your leadership experience and kind of influence what you do now?
Yeah, so that role as a captain is something that you don't take lightly, and definitely you don't know exactly what it entails until you're in it. And I think that it made me have a wider lens when I was playing, and even off the field, you needed to know what was happening on the field, but also off the field in order to be the most effective leader you can. And so you needed to be in tune with really everything that was going on in order to know exactly how I handle this. You need to know the personnel. You need to know the characteristics and personalities of each of your teammates, so that way you know how to approach the situation. And so that has helped me, especially that relationship building piece that I now take into my work.
Yeah, wow. So I'm assume you're still close with a lot of your teammates.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're from Fresno, California, West Coast. Where did I know softball's a pretty big deal out there in general, but how did you first get into softball?
So my mom played softball in college, and I come from a pretty athletic family, so I tried all the sports, and softball was just definitely one thing that I was good at. And with my mom having a background in softball, she was my first coach, and so it just happened that way, I guess.
Yeah. Wow. And so moving from the West Coast to the Midwest, what was that transition like? Even though the team made it really good for you, but just moving climates and cultures and all that.
So I'll start from the beginning. So moving from Fresno to New Mexico, that wasn't too much of a change. My dad played football at New Mexico State, and my mom played softball at New Mexico State. So I've definitely been there before, and I started going to camps there when I was really young. And so I kind of had a feel for the environment, but also culturally and demographically, it's very diverse. There's the demographics are pretty similar to Fresno.
Okay.
And then when I moved to Oregon, the demographics were not similar to Fresno, so that was definitely a little bit of a culture shock. And then I think that moving to Nebraska from Oregon was about the same.
Yeah.
If we're going to talk about demographics, it was about the same. But the people in Nebraska are just like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's so nice and so welcoming, and so like, do you need something? If you need something, let me know. People that I like don't even know. So that cultural piece also is very unique.
Yeah, no, I definitely felt that when I moved here. Like, everyone was just so nice and, like, welcoming. So props to Nebraska for that.
Yes.
But what was it like growing up in an athletic family and kind of having your mom with you in your softball journey every step of the way?
So I'd say growing up in an athletic family, I never had to work out by myself. And that is very unique because it makes the experience a lot more enjoyable. And when you don't feel like working out, or you're just not really feeling it that day, like, everybody else in the house is working out.
Yeah.
My parents still worked out. So like, there was always somebody in the garage to work out with, because we have like a gym in our garage, and then on the side of the house was a batting cage. And now that me and my sister's still playing, but she's a pitcher, so she doesn't like need the full cage. So there's turf out there now, and tires to flip, and hurdles, because my brothers use that. And so like, there's always something going on. There was always a project. And so me and my sister and I, and even my brother when they were younger, we spent hours on the side of the house hitting. Like, we had a game, you didn't perform the way you wanted to in the game, or maybe you did, you're on the house hitting at 10 o'clock at night. Like, I'm sure our neighbors were like, what in the world are these people doing? Or like, we're pulling tires in the middle of the street. Like, there was never a time where I was just like working out by myself, and I don't want to do this anymore, because it was something that we've done since we were younger. And even to this day, I go home for Christmas break and we're all working out together.
Oh, wow. That is so cool, and definitely makes it a more enjoyable experience, something you guys can all share together. So, yeah. Well, we'll have much more with Mya right after the break.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Ella Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela. They let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit allofiber.com to switch today.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Bundle up, bring your crew, and make this winter one for the books with Bachfest at Beer House. Enjoy winter brews that will tangle with your taste buds, polka dancing, games like Hammerschlagen, Stein Stamina, and much more. Bach beer will be flowing, and sausages and pretzels will be available for purchase. Doors open at 11 a.m., and the party goes outside until 6 p.m. before moving inside. VIP tickets are $75, but just $5 gets you in the door. Buy your tickets today at beerhousene.com for this Saturday's Bachfest.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurk with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurk@fbfs.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Against Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Against Sports at 48th and Vine.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and on behalf of the entire Koppel team, we would like to say thank you to all of our loyal customers and employees that have allowed us to become one of the most successful GM dealerships in the country for the past 50 years. So we are celebrating that with some huge discounts. Right now, we have up to $13,500 off MSRP or 0% APR on select new models, and new Blazer EVs are leasing for $279 a month with zero down. So check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with approved credit. See dealer for details.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays. Games of bowling, shoe rental, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Attention all wing fans! Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 89-cent boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.29 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today at 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
I used to smoke. I thought of cigarettes as my best friend.
They were always there for me when I needed a break.
I also thought cigarettes were my best friend, and then they gave me peripheral artery disease.
I smoked and had a stroke. Actually, multiple strokes.
I smoked and have heart disease.
Here's my tip. If cigarettes are your friend, you need a better friend.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to Off the Field on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Kendall Lanier.
Welcome back to Off the Field. I'm here with Mya Felder, former Nebraska softball player and now coordinator for strategic initiatives at Nebraska. So we talked a lot about your journey getting to Nebraska and now working in sports. Did you ever think about staying in softball, whether coaching or anything still directly with softball?
I definitely miss it. And I would say I'm not like all the way far removed from coaching because I definitely love being around the sport. So if I ever had an opportunity to get into coaching, I might take it because honestly, like with every year that passes and like every game that I'm watching right now, because it's on Thursday through Sunday.
Right.
So like that's all that's on my TV. I think that I would welcome honestly any opportunity. I'm not like no, but it's also not something that I might be like actively looking for all the time or not. I didn't when I was playing because I think the more days and years that pass, I'm like, dang, I miss it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's so true. I mean, do you still kind of practice in a way or you just work out?
Okay, I honestly could say that I practice because when I go home, I have to catch my sister. So like,
okay, yeah.
I definitely still do stuff with her.
Right.
And sometimes I go to the practices and I just watch or like, I pretty much went to like every home game if it wasn't freezing.
Yeah, there were a few of those.
Yeah.
And your sister, she plays college softball. What was that like growing up, playing the same sport together, and how did that kind of strengthen your bond?
Yeah, so similar to my brothers, like me and my siblings, we all have a really close relationship. But me and my sister, we played on the same teams growing up. We definitely spent more time than my brothers and I working out just because we played the same sport. So like every time I was on the side of the house hitting, she was on the side of the house.
Yeah.
If she needed to go pitch, I was going to catch. If we needed to throw, whenever we went to the field, like, so all of those times, the car rides, like we played on teams out of town. So we were on the road every weekend, sometimes during the weekdays. And so just naturally you form a bond. But even before that, we're just really close. We have a very close family. And so that just strengthened what we had between us. And like we had stuff to talk about that maybe like my brothers wouldn't get just because they weren't on they weren't on the field with us or like, but I'd say that definitely strengthened what we had.
Yeah. And have you considered moving back to the West Coast, or you're kind of happy here for now?
I'm happy here for now, but it's probably not a place that I want to stay because I'm very close to my family.
Yeah.
And so I would love to move back. I don't know exactly when that will be, but it's definitely something that I probably will do.
Yeah. And you did a lot of different things in college that kind of helped you to get where you are now, like the Black Student Athlete Summit, Big Ten Fellow. How did those things kind of prepare you, and what led you to get involved in those extra things?
So I'd say during COVID in the summer of 2020, when I was at Oregon, we had a few different initiatives that we did. We had some Zoom calls, and I was very active in those things. And so that's one of the reasons that I am in college athletics and doing the work that I'm doing right now, is to be a resource, especially for student athletes of color and really any minority student athlete. And so I think that what led me into those things and doing that is everything that I learned. And I learned a lot of leadership roles in 2020. And so what I'm doing now is just honestly it's very rewarding, but it's also very difficult. And so there's a lot of pushback on certain things, and but the people that I impact directly have definitely made this opportunity as rewarding as it is. And like, so we took student athletes to the Black Student Athlete Summit, and that was just really eye-opening to see other people who are maybe experiencing similar situations or issues, and being able to connect and kind of get like feel refreshed. You feel refreshed when you leave those types of things. And then right now I'm the Big Ten Fellow for Nebraska, and so it also provides a lot more opportunities. So on Thursday I'm leaving to go to Penn State, and it's called a fellow swap. And so I'll be there for 3 days, kind of learning what other athletic departments do and getting insight on what they do differently, or what initiatives that they do that we don't, and just being able to connect with other people that kind of do the same thing as I do, but also widen my lens of college athletics.
Yeah, that is so cool. So have you traveled for that position already before this year?
No, this is my first time this year.
Okay, yeah. That's so cool. So, first we'll talk about 2020. That seems like that was a transitional year for you where you learned a lot, but also COVID, a lot of things going on. What was that like playing the sport and dealing with so many other outside factors that year?
I think that the most difficult challenge that I faced was playing a predominantly white sport where the people that I was around most of the time didn't really understand. Not for lack of trying, but you can't understand until that's you or somebody very close to you. And so I think that was probably the most challenging piece of being a leader in that capacity, was just the people that I was around every single day didn't really understand exactly how that felt. And so trying to communicate that and trying to educate just kind of also, it took a lot. It took a lot out of you to be able to handle what was in front of you and what was going on in the country at that point, and to also have the capacity to educate somebody else. So I think that was the most challenging part of that process and that experience.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of good came out of that situation. You were able to find your voice and now be an advocate for other student athletes of color. What do you think kind of pushed you to that position? Because I feel like for a lot of athletes or anybody in a space where they are the minority, it's not always easy to take that step and be the advocate. What made you feel comfortable enough to kind of say, hey, I want to take this role?
My family. I have a lot of support at home, and so those are the people that I talk to every day, and so I talk about anything and everything. And then when that came up, that was just something else that we talked about, but I always felt supported. So when I didn't get the support that I hoped I'd get on the other end, I knew I always had my family supporting me.
Yeah, wow. So you'll go to Penn State this week. Do you have another university you'll go to later this year?
No, Penn State is the only one that I'll go to, and then hopefully I'll have somebody from the conference come here, and then they can kind of see what we do at Nebraska.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Now, shifting gears a little bit, do you have a creative business, correct?
Yeah, it's not a business. I think it's more of a hobby.
Okay. Yes, Lil Creations by Mammers.
Yes.
How did you get into this, and what's it all about?
So I have always been creative since I was little. Like, when I was in elementary school, I was making bows and putting clips on the back of them, and I wear them in my hair. And then I loved to bake. Like, I had an Easy Bake Oven, and then when I outgrew the Easy Bake Oven, I sold it in a yard sale, and then I went to Walmart and got and I would make cakes, and I got like the tubes and stuff to like make cute cupcakes or like. So I've always loved being creative, and then when I still love to bake. And then during the pandemic, I was at home for a long time, and I was like, I want to redo my room. Like, it's the same room that I've always had. And so I would just find stuff around the house. Like, one of the we were getting rid of a bed that we had, and so there was like extra pieces of wood. And so when I was redoing my room, I was like, oh, I'll just like paint these and sand them, and now it's my headboard. So I did that for both mine and my sister's room, and then I also made the desk in my room. And so I have just always loved being creative, and that's also stuff that's on that page. It's just like stuff that I do for fun, and then it's always been a hobby of mine, and so I just decided to make a page for it.
Yeah, that's so cool. So you like take wood and like make it into, like, you've done boards and like you said, headboards. That's so cool. Like, how was it hard to learn how to do that?
No, like, I don't think for anything that's on that page other than a charcuterie board, I've never like watched a video and been like, okay, so this is what I need to do. Like, if I had to drill something or sand something, I would definitely ask my dad and be like, or my mom, and just be like, okay, how do I work this? Like, what should I do for this? But everything that's on there, I just come from my imagination.
Period. Yeah, that's so cool. I feel like it's so good to have a hobby that is like hands-on, kind of. I mean, it seems kind of hard. I was gonna say mindless, but like, yeah, that's so cool. And then is Mammers your nickname?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a nickname that my mom gave me when I was a baby.
Yeah, that's so cute. Do you have any other hobbies that helped you take your mind off softball when you were playing?
I love to work out, and that's just because I've always worked out with my family, and so I did that like before practice. Sometimes I do that after practice, but that's also a hobby, and I still do it now. So I guess it's more of a hobby now and less of a requirement.
Yeah. And the mental health side of sports, how do you think you were able to navigate that space and stay motivated to play the sport you love while also taking care of you?
There's definitely a very fine line, and I think it's important that everyone finds it. For me, on an off day, or like even if we had weights and then I had some time, I would go get my nails done, and that was like my form of self-care. I read, but I mostly read for school. I'm not a huge reader, especially since I have to do a lot of it for school. But my form of self-care would definitely just be like relaxing, because we don't get a lot of opportunities to do that, especially like in season with softball. Since we can't play here, we're always traveling in the months of February and March. So when we had an off day, it was typically on Mondays, and we would still have class and we'd still need to be places. And so whenever I could find little gaps in my day, I'd take that and go do something for myself.
Yeah. Have you been able to carry that into your life now, having a full-time job, with all that comes with that? Do you still keep that up?
Yes, I do. And honestly, going from being a student athlete to a professional, like that first week, because I finished playing in May and I started the job in July, and it was just like I had gone home for the month of June, and when I started, I was like really bored, because like when somebody asked me to do something, I had time to do it right then and there, so I was going to do it, and then I would be like, I'm done with my task. Like, what's next? And so when we talked about the mental health set, I don't know how. Maybe I did the best I could, honestly, with mental health, being a student athlete. But like, I didn't realize how much I was doing and how often I was doing a lot until I started working on the professional side. Like, it was night and day. I was like sitting there, like, maybe I do need to read. Maybe I need to do something while I'm sitting here, because every time I was done with something, it was like, what's next? What's next? But that's just how my brain worked. That's how my body was wired at that point in time. So I've definitely had to learn a lot since then.
Yeah, I mean, I was no student athlete, but transitioning from college to like as a professional in general is a lot, because you just have more time. And so it's like, I did pick up reading. That's like one of my hobbies. But yeah, I don't know if you have more time. Well, I do have more time, but it's more about like balancing your time now. Because like college, you always like had class. You always like had something to do. Now it's like outside of work, everything else is like optional. So it's like using your time wisely. So yeah.
And definitely now that classes are picking back up for me, I have less free time, but I think I still have more free time than I did.
Yeah. So what's that like, doing classes while working professionally? Like, Is that a tough balance as well?
So now that's what if ever I'm like, okay, I'm done with this task and nothing's urgent, nothing's like needs to be done now, that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of stuff that I have to read, and I'm currently working on 2 projects with my advisor to be published, and so those take time outside of the classes too, and just extra reading and extra research that I have to do, and so I definitely have less free time, but balancing that while working professionally is when I have an opportunity to work on that, that's what I'm doing. So like if I'm not sending an email, or I'm not in a meeting, or I'm not meeting with a student athlete, that's typically what I'm doing.
Wow. Busy girl.
Yeah.
Well, we'll send it to break. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Husker fans, excited for some softball action at Bowlin Stadium this year but can't commit to a full season ticket? They've got you covered. Introducing the On Deck Deal. Snag tickets to 5 Husker home games for as little as $30. This partial season lets you choose any 5 games, including one from the Maryland series. Whether you prefer general admission or reserve seating, packages start at just $30. Get your On Deck deal today at huskers.com/tickets. Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800.
You hungry? You know you are. We got chicken fingers, crunchy. Fries are golden crispy, baby. Yo, don't forget about the cane sauce, baby. Ooh, right, here's the spot. Hello.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Hey everyone, Lance here with Black Label. We specialize in creating custom crafted decks, pergolas, patio covers, and more. Plus, our retractable screens, gazebos, and patio enclosures create the ultimate outdoor retreat. With over 50 years of combined experience, we're not just builders, we're creators of unforgettable memories.
Call them today at 402-730-6333 or visit blacklabelbuilt.com for a free consultation.
Let's turn your backyard dreams into reality.
Black Label Built, built to serve, built to last.
I used to smoke. I thought of cigarettes as my best friend.
They were always there for me when I needed a break.
I also thought cigarettes were my best friend, and then they gave me peripheral artery disease.
I smoked and had a stroke. Actually, multiple strokes.
I smoked and have heart disease.
Here's my tip. If cigarettes are your friend, you need a better friend.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Midwest Bank is proud to be your local community bank right here in Lincoln. This is Travis with Midwest Bank. Now with 2 branches conveniently serving Lincoln and 8 other locations across Nebraska. We're here to help you with any of your needs. From opening a checking account to buying a home or financing your business, our staff is here for you. Stop in and you might see Shin Daddy himself. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Learn more at midwest.bank, member FDIC.
Well, it's the middle of winter, the holidays are over, and the weather is unpredictable. Isn't there anything to look forward to? You bet there is! Cash Blast from your Nebraska Lottery is back! Until April 1st, buy a 2x2 ticket and enter the voucher number online for a chance to win one of 7 weekly drawings for $5,000 or $500. And if your voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket, your prize is doubled. Hey, there's nothing like a little green to cure the winter blues. 2x2 top prize odds 1 in 105,000.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and on behalf of the entire Koppel team, we would like to say thank you to all of our loyal customers and employees that have allowed us to become one of the most successful GM dealerships in the country for the past 50 years. So we are celebrating that with some huge discounts. Right now, we have up to $13,500 off MSRP or 0% APR on select new models, and new Blazer EVs are leasing for $279 a month with 0 down. So check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with approved credit. See dealer for details.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger. And future stronger you can get started now by saving $28 or more when you join today. You in? We have all the best in-class equipment you could ever need to keep stepping it up. And free fitness training to help you mix up your routine. Plus, most clubs are open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends February 28th. See Home Club for details.
Back to Off the Field on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Kendall Lanier.
Welcome back. I'm joined by Mya Felder, and we just talked a lot about your journey in softball and now working at Nebraska in college athletics. I mean, softball itself has grown so much in the last couple of years. Even me, who didn't know much about softball until I got here, I seen it really take off, and they just had games on MLB Network. Just so many different things. What has it been like from your perspective to see the sport continue to grow?
It is so exciting. Like whenever Thursday hits, I'm like so excited. And I know that it's not like just streaming, and it's on a network. It's on ESPN. It's on MLB Network.
Mm-hmm.
It's on ABC. It's always so fun to hear the stories about players, and then just talk about, like, the other day they were talking about how it's the third generation. So like their grandmas were playing, their moms were playing, and now they're playing. And so when I hear them talk about how much the sport has grown just through that time, it's so awesome. And I think it's been in like the last decade that has really happened. And so it just makes me that much more excited to turn on the TV Thursday to Sunday. Really all week now.
Right. I love that. And so even though it has grown so much, is there any area that you want to see it push forward a little bit more?
I'd say that there's room for improvement really in every area, because until like men's sports and women's sports are equal, there's always room for improvement on the professional level. Like, they've been making progress every single year to make that platform bigger and more opportunities for college student athletes who want to play at the next level. And so I think that there's room to grow in every aspect, and that just starts from when little girls are younger, motivating them, inspiring them, and so that way when they are at the level of either playing in college or professionally, they have kind of a baseline and have learned from people who have been there so that they can advocate for more.
Yeah, I love that. And we talked a lot about your work in advocacy and all that. How do you think the sport needs to become more diverse, or do you think it's gotten a lot better in the last decade?
I think a similar response to
the
previous question. I think that there's definitely room for improvement.
Mhm.
But we do see more than we did a long time ago. And so just in recent years, like Naja Kennedy was the USA Softball Player of the Year. I don't remember the last time that there was an African American female who won that award. And so that's growth right there, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. And the professional landscape of softball, how do you think that has, to be honest, like my parents, I was talking to them one day and they're like, I didn't even know there was professional softball in the US. Like, how do you think that needs to grow? And what do you think of just the professional landscape for softball in general?
So I think right now that the Athletes Unlimited has 4 teams, but it's a league now and not just 4 teams that are ever rotating. And so I think that's progress right there. Like there can be a city behind that team. There's a city, there's colors, there's a mascot, and that's something that they didn't have even last season.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. Do a lot of athletes go like overseas to play softball, or it's not?
I know a few athletes that have gone overseas. Some are doing it to build a sport in other areas of the world, and then there's also some that are doing it just to be able to play the game after college.
Yeah, got you. And your faith has been a big part of your life. And when did that become a big part of your journey? And how has it helped you grow?
Faith has always been a part of my life. Like I've gone to church. I was in the plays. I was doing like Wednesday night Bible studies from when I was little. And so it's definitely grown over the course of my life. And I think that when you're away from home and you're in college, that's one of the only things that you can rely on because your family's not always with you. Like they're a phone call away. But just relying in God and keeping my faith in that way, like that's the only person that's with me wherever I'm at and however I'm feeling. And so it's definitely been a big part of my life when moving away from home. But then like as I'm just going through the different phases in life, like there's nothing is certain. And so just keeping my faith in God, like he has a plan. So that helps me stress a little less when I don't know what's going to happen, especially with the work that I'm doing now or when I'm going to move back home because I know that that's a goal of mine. So, but when it's his timing and not mine.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And was there any points maybe in college that it was harder to stay like as disciplined in your faith and kind of trust the process? Yeah.
I'd say that time, definitely, because I wasn't able, like, pretty much all 5 years of softball, I wasn't, and transferring too, it was difficult for me to find a church, but also we're always playing on Sundays or traveling or practicing. And so I think that makes it harder when you can't, like, corporate worship as often as you'd like. And so just being disciplined and having to do that for yourself, I think was the most challenging part.
Yeah, that's so true. And coming from a team of all women in softball to transitioning to working in college athletics and just being exposed to so many different people, what was that transition like, and how have your experience been as a woman in sports, more on the business side of sports now?
It's definitely different. I've definitely been in a lot of meetings where I'm the only female. And that's just because everyone who I've reported to since I've been in Nebraska has been a male. And so but I always had my dad, and he was my coach, and then I had 2 brothers too. So it's not like anything new.
Yeah.
But it's not something that you don't notice either.
Yeah, definitely. And for you, do you get to kind of bring new ideas to the table in this role, and how have you been able to kind of bring your own creativity to it?
Yeah, so since I do most of the work for this department, I have the ability to just be creative, and if there's an initiative that I think is important, then I'm allowed to bring it up. And so even if there's something that a student athlete wants, I'll advocate for that, and I'll be able to advocate for that. And so I think that being like the lead of this department is really rewarding. And if there's something that I want, I can ask for it and advocate for it too. And the people that I work with are very understanding. When I want to explain something, I'm allowed to explain it. They listen. And so I think that has definitely made that experience a lot better than where it could be elsewhere.
Yeah. And how has your relationships that you have in the team side, softball team, the coaches helped you in this role instead of going into a new university where you don't know anyone?
Yeah, so when I first got here, Coach Ravel introduced me to Dr. Chatters, and Dr. Chatters is who I reported to last year. And so he, so that's just like, she did that on her own. Like, I told her what my interests were, and she said, I'm going to connect you with him. And I don't even know if I was here for a week, and I was meeting with Dr. Chatters. And so he definitely provided me with a lot of opportunities. And I was able to intern with the NCAA as a minority intern for the Women's College World Series, which was so cool. And then, and I did that after the first year I was here, like that first summer, that's what I did. And then the reason that I started in here was because Dr. Chatters introduced me to another opportunity, which was the McClendon Fellow opportunity.
Okay. What was the NCAA internship like?
That was really cool. So I got to be on all of the planning Zoom calls. So it started in February. So it started when season started, and it ended when the World Series ended. So it's from February, and I think we did some stuff after, so it ended in July. But I was on every single one of the planning committee meetings with USA Softball. I got to meet some of the committee members, and then so that all happened on Zoom during season because I was still playing. And so she was like, oh, you can get on the calls when you have time. And so it was so cool. The one call that I couldn't be on was with the committee members, but it was because we were doing well. And it was in 2020 when we won the Big Ten tournament. So we had an automatic bid to the tournament, the NCAA tournament. She's like, sorry, you can't be on this call because we don't know where your team is going to be. So I was like, that's fine because of where I'm at. So and then I got to go to Oklahoma City, and I was there for the Women's College World Series, and I got to go to the banquet where the awards were presented. Like, it was a really cool opportunity, and to see all the behind-the-scenes stuff. And I got to shadow pretty much every department. So, like, on in-game presentation, ESPN trailers, operations. So it was really cool.
That is so awesome to go to the World Series. Like, even though not with the team, you still get to experience it from a different lens. So yeah, is that one of the experiences that broadened your landscape of this is what I want to do?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. I think that there's a lot of work that goes into working in college athletics, but that there's so many rewards that you get, and especially working with the student athletes. Like at that point I was still a student athlete, so I was just like, wow, this could be us next year still. But you really got to see what all went into making that experience happen for the student athletes that were a part of that.
Wow. Cool. And softball is a very personality sport, fun to watch. How do you think you brought your personality, and what type of player were you?
I definitely was not loud, and I didn't have a whole lot of emotion. I didn't show a whole lot of emotion, and I never have. That's just my personality.
Yeah.
So I am mellow. And I don't say a whole lot in the moment. I like to analyze. I like to sit back. I like to watch. So seeing my personality on the field is, you probably won't like at all.
Yeah, that's so funny. And do you feel like you kind of keep that same vibe now, like in your role?
Yes. Yeah, that's just like who I am.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that unless you like know me, I don't think you'll ever be like, oh, that's exactly who she is.
Yeah, I get that. And what are some of when you think back from your experience at Nebraska, what are maybe the top moment that comes up in your mind?
Winning a Big Ten championship. I don't know if that's the right answer, but it feels right.
Yeah.
And so that like, I think that's the first championship other than like, little stuff that I've ever won, and so it was really meaningful. But I think it was meaningful because the amount of work that I knew went into that before I got here, and like that summer and that fall, and it was just so rewarding to finally just be like, wow, we did it. And so, that's the one, like, it just goes head and shoulders above everything else that's happened.
It's funny because after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, a lot of them have been saying, like, winning doesn't feel as good as the process of getting there and all that stuff. So when you won the Big Ten championship, was it like, oh, this is the mountaintop moment? Oh my. Okay. So was it like, oh, you got to the mountaintop when you won, or did you seek more joy in the process of getting there?